Coors Light presents Call the Coach live from Ruby Tuesday in the Moanalua Shopping Center.
Woo! We are here. We are started, and welcome to Ruby Tuesdays here at the Moanalua Shopping Center. I'm actually Dave Kawada here, and I'm joined by head coach Laura Beeman. Call the Coach with Laura Beeman, Wahine Basketball coach. Got a good crowd here at the Moanalua Shopping Center, Ruby Tuesdays. If you want to call in and have a comment or a question, or you can text it in, 296-1420. Also for our live audience here, if you have any questions or comment, you can write something down, or we can pass the mic as well. We'd like you all to be a part of the show. And Coach Laura Beeman, the past couple of weeks, you've won 3 games out of the last 4. You got the big win on Saturday over Cal Poly. Kind of summarize a little bit how this team is at this point, especially over these last couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks have been good. We've been fighting some inconsistencies. If you go back to the Northridge game, which I didn't want to talk about, I think that showed, kind of our lulls. But when we play 3 out of 4, win 3 out of 4, and we play the way we have, that's the team that we want to see consistently. We're struggling with the inconsistency. We don't know why, but we're working through it as best we can.
Is there some element of your team or the game that has been consistent, though, over the past, particularly the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think for the most part, the effort. We don't play great basketball. Sometimes it's not fun to watch, and I understand that, but the effort is always there. We get in these lulls, particularly offensively, and when we get in those lulls, it kind of zaps the energy out of the building. It zaps the energy out of the girls. But this is a group that really wants to win. They work hard. So even when we're in those lulls, I still believe we play hard and we represent well.
One of the things I feel that has been somewhat consistent, particularly over the last couple of weeks, the defense. On that road trip 2 weeks ago, to sweep 2 games on the road for any Hawaii team, that is a huge milestone, a huge accomplishment to do. But your defense really came out. You held the teams down, shooting percentages. Their scoring output was really down. That has been kind of, I know you're a defensive coach, so I'm sure in that aspect that's proud to see.
It is, and early on I felt our defense was poor. Our rotations weren't good. I didn't think the effort was always there. Courtney Locke, one of my assistant coaches, she does a tremendous job with just getting them in different zones and mans and rotations and game planning, and she's done a fabulous job. And I think the girls have really bought in, particularly going into conference, that particularly when we have lulls offensively, we have to have stops defensively. And they have bought into that, and particularly that road trip. The defense showed up. It needed to. I think the girls are really confident now with both our zone and our man. It showed up again, against Cal Poly slow, which was nice to see. That's a good team. They're big. Riverside, we couldn't score, and so we had to have some defensive stops, and unfortunately we couldn't generate enough offense from our defense. But the defense has been very, very solid the last 5 or 6 games, yes.
I was telling Tiff, our broadcast partner, that this season it seems like you've been predominantly a man defensive team most of your head coaching career at the University of Hawaii, but it seems like this year you've really engaged the zone defense a lot this season, maybe more than their previous 6. Is it the matchup situation? Is the personnel? How do you kind of determine that?
One of it's Coach Locke. She brings in a really great defensive mind, and she's very good at the different zones and the different slides, because I've been predominantly a man-to-man coach, and so she had to do some convincing, but when she did, I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And it did go back to some matchups. It went back to what we're capable of doing, teams that have a lot of quicker guards, and we can't stay in front of them. We have to have an option other than just letting them drive by or we get in foul trouble. So the zone was something the girls really bought into. We weren't rebounding out of it well for a while. Now we're rebounding much better. They're able to get into it against different orientations. So both our man and our zone are really solid right now, and that's fun because it allows us to do some fun things out of timeouts and dead balls and, show man, drop into a zone. And I like the zone. It's just it takes me a while to see the slides. I have to be honest. It's like, what just happened? And Coach Locke's like, come on, Coach. And I'm like, I don't see it. Get in a man and I'll tell you what's going on. So it's been fun for me to also have that learning curve and watch the girls learn, and I grow with them. We'll continue to play both a man and a zone, and hopefully a couple different zones as we move through conference and into the tournament.
Call the coach. Number is 296-1420. You can also text the number at that same number, 296-1420. We have our first caller on the line. Let's go right to Evan. Hello, Evan.
Oh, this is Evan.
Hi, Evan.
Did we lose Evan? Evan, you still there?
Bye, Evan.
Bye, Evan. Call again, 296-1420. Hope we can get Evan again. Oh, there you are, Evan. Hi. You're here with Coach Laura Beeman.
Cut off. Yeah.
Do you have a question for Coach?
No.
Did I scare him off? Okay, well, get your question ready because Coach Beeman is ready to ask any question you have, Evan, and hopefully you can try again. We'll go back to you right after that. I want one more question about defense because I like to learn how coaches kind of teach it. Now, when you get a team together and you want to have a good defensive foundation, Courtney Locke obviously has done a lot of stuff with the zone. On the man side of things, what are some key elements that you like to teach to your players as kind of the principal foundations of a man defense?
One, you have to play hard. If you're not going to play hard, you can't. Well, you shouldn't be playing for me, but you have to play hard. So we sit down and we go over some basic shell drills. When the ball's here, you play in relationship to the ball, getting in stance, man and ball, communication. But the biggest thing is you're never going to play perfect basketball, and basketball is very rarely 5-on-5. It's usually some type of advantage for the offensive team. Someone's out of position, someone's fouled, someone's hurt. And so it has to be effort. And when you make the mistake, you can't sit there and have that moment of, poor me. It has to be, okay, made a mistake. Now I have to fight. I'm in the wrong position. I've done something I shouldn't do. How do I work myself out of this? And usually it's the effort that if the girls will come in with that kind of mentality that you make a mistake, it doesn't matter, you have to go hard, our man will be very, very good. And, at this level, it's a little bit more than just playing hard. Every team wants to win. And so a lot of people say, oh, they must just not have wanted the game. And that's not true at this level. Everybody wants to win. It comes down to execution as well. And execution isn't just on the offensive side, it's also on the defensive side. So once you get the principles down of man-ball relationship, then it's the communication, and it's being able to process what you're seeing fast enough to make the adjustments. And again, when you find someone that might be better than you, faster than you, stronger than you, you really have to lock into your technique.
Now, going on the offensive side, now I haven't compared the numbers over the years as you've been the head coach here at Hawaii, but it seems to me by my eyes that this year's team has shot more from the perimeter than it just in shots released within the offense that has been in the previous years. It seems that way. Is that more of an emphasis this year because of the players you might have that can shoot it?
Yeah, we feel that our shooting has improved drastically over the last 2 and 3 years. Our technique is better, how we teach footwork, where our shots are coming from within our offense. The girls are putting in a lot of time on their own. Have to give a lot of credit to, Kalila Mitchell, assistant coach, and Alex Delaney, and they do a great job with the player development and just getting the offensive mastery down, if you will. And there's been a huge emphasis this year on footwork. When the ball is here, this is the foot that needs to be down, and let's get, follow through to the basket. And the biggest thing for the girls is if they're shot ready, they can shoot it. If they're not shot ready, they can't shoot it. And it's that good shot, bad shot, hunting great shots versus just settling for okay shots. And when the girls get in the rhythm of, okay, I'm shot ready, this is a great shot, we have a tendency to have a higher percentage than when it's an afterthought. Or they're not prepared to catch the ball, feet aren't down. Then you'll see us go a little crazy on the sidelines because we can see that they're not ready to shoot the ball. Or first side in our offense, we're not big on that unless it's just get to the basket for a layup or you're left wide open. We don't want first shots, first side shots. The percentages show we get into the 50s and the 60s when we go into third, fourth side reversals versus just catching and shooting because you feel like catching and shooting. So there's been a huge emphasis, but you are correct that we're shooting the ball more from the perimeter. We have confidence in our team. We know we're a good outside shooting team. I believe we were leading the conference in three-point field goal percentage. It just has to be within the offense and with the right mentality.
Now, one of the things, if you're doing an announcing of a game, whether it be radio or TV, the big thing you don't want to do is have your voice crack when you're on the air because you don't want to let people know you're going through a third or fourth puberty again. But on Saturday's game, I got to point it out, Rachel Odumu caught the ball in that far corner toward the end of the game, launched one, all net on a three-point shot, and I did it's good, and my voice just cracked. It was just so humiliating. So please let Rachel know that three-point shot allowed me to have a great embarrassing moment. But that shot, footwork, shot in there.
Exactly what we're talking about. Shot ready, didn't have an afterthought, caught it, ready to go, released it, and it was the right shot at the right moment.
And now talk a little bit about that win against Cal Poly. First of all, you swept now both of them on the road. You came back, had a very convincing win. One of the things thing I like about this team is though they might have a bad game like the previous, but the ability to kind of bounce back and then have another performance that kind of washes that one away.
Yeah, and that's what happened to us on Wednesday versus Riverside. You know, we had 3 quarters of just really bad offensive basketball where we couldn't get it together, we couldn't attack, and had a great 7 or 8 minute stint in the fourth quarter and brought it within, 3. And then we come back on Saturday and you'd think we're just a different team. I feel like we're a different team. Yeah. Sometimes it's confidence. It's matchups. You know that you have a great matchup against somebody, so you go in really confident. You know the game plan's on point. Other games you're a little bit iffy. And this team has a tendency to, I'll give you an example. You tell a kid, don't touch the fire, you're going to burn themselves. And some kids just like, okay, I'm not going to touch it. And some kids are like, and then my hand, I burned my hand. My team runs through the fire. You say don't do it, you're going to get burned, and they just run through it, and then they realize that they shouldn't be doing it. So we have a tendency at times to have to learn by experience before we'll make the adjustment, and sometimes it's too late in the game. With Cal Poly, even though they're very, very physical, they're a big team, the girls are really confident, and they knew that, okay, we do these things, we're going to blow them out again, and I could feel the energy in the locker room. And so when you have those games, that's really fun. It doesn't happen a lot in conference where you beat people by 15, 17 points. Usually conference games are really tight. But Cal Poly is one of those games that, we feel really confident, and if we see them in the tournament, we're going to be okay with that.
So the mantra is, if there's a fire, it's hot.
It's hot. Yeah.
Let's take our first timeout. It's Call the Coach with head coach Laura Beeman. If you want to call or text a comment, 296-1420. We are at Ruby Tuesdays at the Moanalua Shopping Center. We'll be right back.
Back to Call the Coach, brought to you in part by No Foods of Hawaii and the HGEA on ESPN 1420.
Welcome back to Ruby Tuesdays here at the Moanalua Shopping Center. Dave Kawada along with head coach Laura Beeman, head coach of the Rainbow Wahine Basketball team. And Coach, I finally got it together here. I have a couple of texts that have come in. So here's one text coming in. Coach Beeman, please review players from your recruiting class.
Incoming. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start with, I'm going to draw Barbara Rangel. I almost drew a blank on her last name. She is at Moore Park Junior College in California. I believe they've only lost 1 game. She's a 6'2.5" post player. Great kid. Great young lady. Brings just great maturity, knows how to win. And she's another big body for us, so we're really looking forward to Barbara. She came to Hawaii, just absolutely fell in love, and was being recruited by a couple other Big West schools, and just loved the community and everything about Hawaii. Michaela Edwards from Salesian High School, Northern California. Nickname is Pootie. She's a playmaker. Pootie the playmaker. She she does not, I'm going to be honest, she does not pass the eye test. When you take a look at her, you think, okay, what's this young lady going to do? She's going to remind you a lot of Destiny King, for those of you who've been around for a while. Can play the 1 through 4, great playmaker, needs to work on her shot a little bit. Again, coming from a winning program, herself and one of the other players on her team were very, very highly recruited throughout the country. Her post player was one of the top, I think, 10 to 15 in the country, so she's played with great talent. Again, coming from a winning program. Tai Janae, we call her Nene, Calhoun from Riverside. Again, a young lady who I think they've lost 4 games. They're going into CIF playoffs right now. 5'4" guard, incredibly quick, can play on both sides of the ball, but defend 94 feet. Super sweet kid, intelligent, intense, plays for one of the top travel ball teams in Southern California, and she's just going to bring a lot of excitement, and we're going to have to rely on her a lot. Losing Tia Kanoa, bringing in a freshman point guard. She is a true point guard. Casey Newbert from Colorado. They are, I believe, the #1 ranked team in Colorado right now. She's about 5'11" to 6'1". I know that's kind of a range of height there, but she's a farm girl from Colorado and has this amazing work ethic. She's physical, she bangs, a little undersized. She does not care. She's averaging about 19 points a game right now. Her father actually played NFL football, so she comes from good genes. Again, knows how to win. And just the work ethic is what was so impressive to me, was when her dad said she's a farm girl and she knows how to work on a farm, and I'm like, I get that mentality. So we're excited about Casey, and then obviously last but not least is Olivia Davies from Anchorage, Alaska, and she was a McDonald's All-American mention. This young lady is going to be very, very good, and we're very excited about her. She's a combo guard, about 5'8", 5'9", one of the top players in Alaska. Super sweet kid. She's going to remind you a little bit of Jaden and just the hair and the look and the tattoos, and she's already bought into the culture that way. Dad's a super sweet guy, came out here with her, and they were both just, again, sold on Hawaii, the community, the people, and comes from a winning program. And that's been the theme of our recruiting this 2019 classes. We want to go after kids that have played for either great travel ball teams or great high school programs, so they will come in and know how to win and won't accept anything but winning. And that class is coming in with that mentality, and they're going to carry a lot of weight as freshmen. You know, we're losing a lot of leadership. We need to change up some of the leadership. Our leadership's good. That's not a negative comment. But we need to change up some of that leadership, and I want to give some of the leadership abilities to these youngsters so they understand as they're growing how to nurture and mentor incoming kids. We'll have some struggles early on next year because we'll be playing a lot of freshmen, but I'm good with that. The excitement they're going to bring, the mentality they're going to bring, we've got a really bright future, and those kids are going to be a part of it. So that's a great question. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And another text here. Hi, Coach Beeman. Sorry we could not make it to call the coach, but congratulations on the win Saturday. Best of luck the rest of the season and the Big West Tourney. We'll be at the games rooting for the Wahine. Mahalo nui loa for all you do. From John and Rita Thompson. So
John and Rita were on our Australia trip, and they were just amazing to be around for the entire time, and just so much fun. And we did a wine tasting trip with our boosters, some of the adults. The kids obviously weren't allowed. And John and Rita were a blast, and just great people, and they're huge supporters, so mahalo.
Another text that just came in. Notice that there are no local recruits signed, but good luck and go Bows.
It's been tough. You know, I get that question multiple times throughout a year, and it is really difficult to keep some of the local kids here. They want the mainland experience. And the hard part is I get a lot of people that say, oh, my daughter wants to play and she wants to stay, and that's great, but your daughter has to be a Division I basketball player. And I don't mean to sound that kind of crass, but, you know, we have to recruit players that can win. And not everyone that plays high school basketball in Hawaii is a Division I athlete. They might be Division II, Division III, NAI, and that's wonderful. Any kid that wants to try to walk on, we will allow walk on. We have actually one local girl that's thinking about it, and I hope she does because I think she makes us better, you know, with the attitude. And I think that over time she may work herself into a scholarship. Right now it's not the position really that we need. But I'll tell you, we go after the local talent that can help us win harder than any coaches across the country. But when you say to them, do you want to stay home, and their first response is, I don't know. You can't invest a lot of time on that because you've got kids on the main that are like, heck yeah, I want to be at Hawaii. Bring me over. It's a beautiful place. We're going to win. And so you have this balancing act of spending time on people that don't know, and in the process you lose people that do know, and you can't do that. So I would love to have talent from Hawaii here, for multiple reasons, right? It helps your crowd. You know, it just helps the culture. The Hawaii kids can talk to the mainland kids about what it's like to be Hawaiian or live in Hawaii, and so there's a lot of positives, but it has to be the right fit. So we recruit them hard. Some classes are better than others, so we are obviously recruiting some youngsters right now. I wish I could shout out a couple names, but I'll lose my job. But there are a couple youngsters on this island that you better come to Hawaii. You know who you are. That we would love to keep home.
296-1420. If you have a call for a comment, or if you want to text a question or a comment, please do so. Regarding the recruits, now, as I was reading some of the notes here about those 5 recruits you just mentioned, almost all of them to a T said one of the things they fell in love with, it's like a family here. It's like, oh, I love the family atmosphere. So the real question is, as far as the recruiting tactic, do you invite them to your house for a sleepover or something? You guys make s'mores or, you know, create that ohana feeling right off the bat?
You know, the first thing that sells recruits are our own players. And, you know, I feel like we do a great job recruiting them where it's not just me or the other coaches talking their ears off. You know, of course we give them the spiel and we walk them around and show them the facilities, and I'm fortunate enough where I can throw them in the car and take them and show them some of the really pretty sights, you know, around Oahu. They do come to the house. And when they're at the house, it's, you know, we either cater something in or we'll grill. It doesn't matter. The dogs are there, the cats are there, the fish are there, and it's the team plays games. Sometimes we do minute-to-win-it games. Sometimes we're doing charades. Sometimes they just get on their phone and they do, the flip-it-to-win-it game or whatever it is. And as coaches, we just kind of sit back and let them go. And you can see the chemistry immediately, or you don't see the chemistry. And if you don't see the chemistry, then that's a huge red flag, because the 13 girls that are in our program are amazing individuals. This is a great team. They do things the right way. They go to class. They represent this program, even though we don't win it right now or have not won as much as we want. This group of young ladies does it the right way. We've got a great locker room. And so when I see the chemistry and it's on point, I'm like, okay, we've got ourselves a winner here. If the chemistry's not, then I don't care how good the recruit is. I won't bring him in to disrupt that. That's why your family works, right? You have those open and honest conversations. So the girls sell it first. The assistant coaches do a phenomenal job. They get the parents. They take them out. But I think when they do go to the house and we all kick our shoes off and we're sitting on the grass or wherever we are fishing, all of a sudden they're like, okay, this is pretty cool. And the dogs are running around and, everyone's like, oh my gosh, I have dogs at home. And I'm like, you can come see the dogs anytime. Why don't you take them for a walk? And it matters. And I don't think a lot of coaches do that. But they need to know that when they come here and they're so far away from home, they have a family. They're going to have someplace to go on Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Oftentimes I'll get a player that will call and say, Coach Beeman, I'm missing home. Can I come over? And I'm like, yep. You got to get yourself here, and I can't feed you, but they usually want to see the dogs.
That's your best
the dogs are here.
recruiters,
Yeah,
right?
Coach Beeman, are you home? Are the dogs there? Well,
Yeah.
of course they are. So the family environment is huge, and it's real. And they sense that, and they know that immediately. And even when recruits have turned us down, they've said, it's really, really hard to tell you guys no. And so that's a good thing.
You mentioned about players kind of recruit the players. Some of the coaches at University of Hawaii have said, certain players, man, they're really good recruiters. Which one of your players is kind of a good recruiter, or a couple of them are good recruiters?
We have a lot of really good recruiters, and sometimes they have a connection with the recruit. They know them from travel ball or the same high school, the same area, or they might have the same major. Lauren Ruers has done a great job. She's just an easy kid, right? You would think she's so shy, and she is, but because she's a little shy, she allows recruits to feel very comfortable because she's not overbearing. Jaleesa Tago's great with just, hey, I'm from Oregon, and I've got some poly in me, and I love being in Hawaii, and this is what it feels like. The Australian kids have done a great job because they're far away from home. So it really is, I can pick anybody on the team. McKenna Woodfolk, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, she's done a phenomenal job. She's really charismatic. And so when a recruit comes, she's like, I got it. And I'm like, where are you taking them, Michaela? And she kind of giggles at me. But she's been great because she is so charismatic and so bubbly and fun. So really, there's a number of young ladies that just do it the right way. And so that's good to know as a coach. I can set them free and not have to worry about what they're going to do.
Yeah, and that's the key part, not worry, right?
Sometimes
not worry.
They
could take them and, what's happening going on there? Here's a text coming in, Coach. This is a really good one. You'll love this one. Coach, do you plan on staying here forever? You are the best, from Scott Morita.
Oh, thank you, Scott. Thank you. When we were losing some games, I would say, Scott, you need to call David Matlin and ask David that. I love Hawaii. Carla's here, and we've made a life here in what she's doing with the homeless population. It's not just about me and what I'm doing here. It's also about the impact we can have on this community. And you can have an impact in any community. In a place like Hawaii, you can have a huge impact if you do it the right way, because people, they need it, they want it. So right now, we have no desire to leave Hawaii. The community here is, thank you.
Scott Morita's happy, and so is everyone here.
Yeah, the community's embraced us, and as long as we can do some good here and have a good positive impact, then, as you say, your job's not done.
We have a couple more texts to go to. We'll get them right after this timeout. One of them is, and you have time to kind of think about this one, Coach, is how do you kind of organize your coaching staff in terms of delegating their duties? So we'll let you sit on that. We'll take a timeout. Be back at Ruby Tuesdays, Wanalua Shopping Center with head coach Laura Beeman.
You're listening to Call the Coach, presented by Coors Light on ESPN 1420 and the Sideline Hawaii app.
Welcome back to Ruby Tuesdays. Call the Coach with head coach Laura Beeman. Rainbow Wahine won 3 of their last 4 games. They're about to head out on the road again, and it's always going to be, it's tough trips coming up. But let's get to, before we get to the schedule, a few more texts here. There was a text that came in asking about how you delegate your duties with your assistant coaches.
You know, with this staff, it's been really easy. You know, and the good thing is we've gotten some consistency with Alex coming back, and you know, Kalila's new, but the kids absolutely adore her. She has just fit right in. Courtney's coming back for her second year. But delegating duties is really easy. For my personal style as a head coach, I want to bring people in who are better than me in certain areas. They have either more expertise, it's what they enjoy doing, they have a strength where I don't. I love that because then I know, one, I get to continue to learn, and I think that's really important. I don't have to worry about that area. They can do their thing. I am not a micromanager. I've never been a micromanager. I'm not good at that. And so to know that someone's going to come in and they have kind of their forte and I can let them go, it just makes my job easier. It allows me to do the things, number one, that I feel like I might be good at or that I enjoy doing. And so, you know, Alex is a real offensive mind. And so it was easy to say, you know, let's talk about offense. We need to score the ball better. And knowing Alex, you know, I worked for 4 years with him prior to him leaving for a year and then coming back. And then I was with him at SC. You know, like I said, Courtney, her experience as a player, she was at Rutgers on a Final Four team and just has traveled around the country learning from great coaches about offense and defense. And Courtney can do both sides of the ball, but she really likes defense. And I love the things she brought to the table, and she just has an incredible personality for the recruitment, and she's done recruiting at a high level. Alex has as well, so they partner really well. And like I said, the kids have fallen in love with Kalila. She's just got this charismatic, warm personality. She doesn't raise her voice. She was at LSU and played on 5 Final Four teams. 1 year, obviously, she didn't play because of being injured, but to be on play with 4 Final Four teams and be a part of a 5th is amazing. Yeah. And so she brings that level of confidence, and the way she teaches is contagious. And so the staff gets along great, which doesn't always happen. You know, you have some very strong personalities, and staff gets along well. When we have conflict or disagreements, we work through it, which is great. And the kids, I think, feel that energy and that vibe that everyone has their job. And you know, we give credit where credit's due. They know that I'm going to turn things over. And I think that's why the team at times feels like everyone has their role, stay in your lane, and no one's too big to do the little things.
Here's another text coming in. Coach, how does the constant travel affect the team? Do you feel you have a disadvantage over the rest of the Big West? Gobos from SKR.
SKR. You know, this is what I'll say about the scheduling is we will always lose the vote 8-1. Every school in the conference is going to do whatever they have to do to give us a disadvantage because they know that we've got support from our community, we've got great facilities, we've got a decent budget that can always grow, but our budget is good. And anytime you get a vote on giving Hawaii a disadvantage, it's 8-1. We can't help, you know, people say, oh, who wouldn't want to come to Hawaii? Well, our location is our pro and our con, right? It's come to Hawaii, it's beautiful, don't want to go to Hawaii, it's far. So we take travel as it is what it is. It's a business trip. It's not for these young ladies to go see family and go to Disneyland. And we make it a school day. It's a business trip. We pack, you know, for the amount of days we're going to be there to win ball games. We have an amazing director of operations in Tanisha Ruff that we have an itinerary that tells them when they're putting their shoes on and when they're, you know, unpacking and packing. And so they just have to show up, do their study hall, know their scout, watch their film session, and win ball games. And so they understand the intensity behind the travel. It is so well organized by Tanisha, and they understand the purpose that traveling with these guys is easy as it can be with 24 to 25 people. And they get on the plane. The flight attendants absolutely love the girls. They get on the bus. They take care of their business. I don't have to worry about them running around the hotel at all times of night and sneaking people in the rooms. And I just don't worry about that stuff. And so, yes, it's a disadvantage because you feel the jet lag. But we also have tricks up our sleeves as far as how to travel, you know, as far as hydration, what to wear, and all of the different things that the girls buy into. And they feel like it gives them an upper hand. And we know we're blue collar. Hawaii has always been blue collar. We're going to continue to be blue collar. We're never going to have the advantages and the entitlements that all the other schools have. And that's something that we're okay with because we're going to go in and we're going to play that way. And when you play blue collar, you're okay, you know, taking a couple shots but giving a few more.
And the whole part about not having to worry about your players on a road trip, I've heard some stories of some of these other players about what they, not Wahine players, other sports. Oh, the fun they've had here or there. Every time you ask them, what was the best part of being a student? Oh, the road trips.
Yeah, kids are kids.
Yeah.
Kids are kids.
I would argue that although your road record is at 3-4, I mean, considering on the road and the trials and tribulations you have to deal with, it's a pretty good road team that you have.
I think there are a lot of distractions at home at times. You know, they're living in dorms or they're living in an apartment. That night before a game, I don't have them in a hotel. They're running around doing whatever they want to do here. When we're on a road trip, I know where we're eating. I know what time they're waking up. I know when they're getting therapy. I know when they're going to bed. And if I feel like we have an issue with phones and computers and iPads, we just take them away. I've had to do that a couple times in my career where it's like all phones are turned off, bring your chargers, plug them in my room, but I'm taking phones because we're not focused. And they're like, they start to just Jones after their phone, right? And it's like, you're going to be okay. You know, what if my parent needs to get me? Give them my number because I'm keeping my phone. And so there are those times where you have to do that, but we get these guys focused on the road, and I think they like it. They love the beds they sleep in these hotels, and they love the food we eat. So I think if you ask them, many times they'd want to be on the road versus here.
I like that. Take the phones away. That's a good one. All the parents out here.
Yeah.
We have teenagers. Over there. Okay, here's another text coming in. How was Mira Joseph's progress been? Looks like she's a banger, but her foul trouble is hard to watch.
She's a banger. So her foul trouble is hard to watch. Yeah, you're right on. You know, she's just a freshman that, again, reminded me so much of a Destiny King. You know, at the high school level, she could bring the ball down the floor as a point guard. She can post up. She's still getting used to the speed and physicality of the game. And the one thing that high school kids have such a hard time with is because the game is called so differently at the high school level and the college level is in high school the first thing you do is you grab someone with two hands and it's not called. In college you put two hands on someone, it's an immediate foul. And so her first inclination on defense is just to put her hands up. And we've worked that. You know, Alex is our post coach. He's done a tremendous job with her, moving her feet, keeping her hands off. On the offensive end, I think at times she gets a really short end of the stick because she is so physical. She will go into someone's chest and they flop. And it's a call because she is so strong. And a lot of times I don't think those are fouls. I just think you have a physical girl that knows how to use her size. You know, for the defensive player, you know, suck it up, Buttercup. You know, she's big, but that wasn't a charge. And so I think she's gotten some of the short end of the stick a little bit. She's been dealing with a little bit of an injury that's kind of sidelined her. And she's trying to work through the whole, once you play Division I athletics, your body never feels the same. You'll never have the same body after you play Division I athletics. Whether it's a year or 4 years, you will wake up with an ache and a pain somewhere. And she's getting used to, but I want my ankle to be perfect, or I want my finger to be perfect. And it's like, then you shouldn't be playing a college sport because it just doesn't work that way. And she's buying into that. She's a great kid, high IQ. So, yeah, the fouls have been a problem, but that's the good and the bad about Mira. I want that physicality, and she just has to learn to control it a little bit, and she will.
I think I'll use that explanation as to why I wake up every morning with a pain in my body. That it's just the Division I athlete element.
It is. I'm telling you.
It's not just age. You know, it's a good segue. We can talk a little bit more about some of the players that you have. I want to start with some of your seniors. Tia Kanoa, you mentioned about local players. She's the one local player on your roster from Kamehameha, went to Arizona State first, transferred back here as your point guard. You know, last year she played so many minutes. I mean, she was just your ball control person. This year, still playing. You depend on her a lot, but I remember when she first came, you said, and she had to sit out because of the transfer rule. I asked her, "Oh, hey, how's Tia doing?" "Oh, if she could start, she'd start right now." Yeah. You've been pretty high on her from the beginning.
You know, she has a real pit bull mentality. She does not like to lose. She gets on the court and she works hard every single night. And you know, she's our most vocal leader, and she's also the player that the young ladies feel her energy, if you will. So when Tia's high, the team is high. When Tia's a little at a lull, the team has a tendency to be at a lull, and they're learning to work through that to help her and not put all of that weight and responsibility on her, because that's not what team is about, right? So we knew with Tia we were going to get someone who had a high IQ, could run our offense, would defend the ball, and bring us great leadership. And she has not fallen short. She's done a tremendous job for us. She's fun to watch. Local kid. She loves being back in Hawaii. You know, we were huddled up, and Tia, if you're listening, forgive me for sharing, but we were huddled up after a practice one day, and it was right around Thanksgiving. I said, I want you all to go around and tell me what you're thankful for. You know, so they all went around, and it was family and this, that, and the other. And Tia just got this glassy-eyed look and just looked right at me, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? And she said, I'm so thankful to be playing back home in front of my family and playing here in Hawaii. And I just got this lump in my throat, and I was like, bring it in, and it was, it means a lot to her to be back here, and she plays that way, and I respect that a lot.
296-1420. If you have a call or a question or a comment, you can also text at that same number as well. And live audience here at Ruby Tuesdays, you can write it down or forward a question over or comment to us. We'll be happy to read it off here while we have Coach Laura Beeman. Another player or players to look at, the twins, Leah and Lonnie Salanoa. Now, Lonnie has kind of had to battle with injuries, and that's kind of been just a tough. She's such a physical player as well, very multidimensional. Leah seems to be a player that really stepped it up this year, from last year to this year. Coach, it took me 4 years to be able to identify them separately in plain clothes. I can do it on a game because they have the different number, but it took me 4 years to finally figure out which one is which when they're wearing regular clothes. But those two.
Love them. I mean, I love them all. So I guess I shouldn't say love them. And when Tia, I love you too. Those are two young ladies that they have just bought in hook, line, sinker. And it's one of those situations where we'll have a rough practice, and they'll come up and, Coach, we got you, Coach, we got you. And to watch and see their maturation over the last 3.5 to 4 years has been really, really impressive. And, this is their senior year. And Leah and Lonnie, they want a great senior year, and they've put the work in the off season. And yes, Lonnie's been battling some injuries. I think if she continues to get her game legs under her and finds her shot, it just gives us one more weapon from the perimeter because both of them are shooting the ball so well. I think Leah just broke into the top 10 for three-point shots. I think Lonnie is right behind her, so now I've got the sisters going at each other, and they're twins, so you can imagine what that's like. But, they're great kids. They bought into this program, and they have not regretted coming here versus another Big West school. They're staying close to home. They've absolutely embraced the community. The community has embraced them, and what they've brought to the table has just been really fun to watch. And they're consistent kids. And so I'll definitely miss, all my seniors. You always do as a coach. Those young ladies have just been, they giggle, and when they laugh, it's contagious, and everyone knows, oh, here go the twins, and one laughs, and the other one laughs, and they finish each other's sentences, and they do all those things that twins do. So it's fun coaching sisters. It's really been fun coaching twins.
And we'll take our final timeout. Don't forget, 296-1420 is the number to call in for a comment or a question, or text it. We'll take a break. We're live from Ruby Tuesdays at the Moanalua Shopping Center. This is Call the Coach with Laura Beeman.
Back to Call the Coach, brought to you in part by No Foods of Hawaii and the HGEA on ESPN 1420.
Welcome back to Ruby Tuesdays here at the Moanalua Shopping Center. Also want to thank Coors Light. Don't forget, we have Coors Light on special tonight here at Ruby Tuesdays. Every Call the Coach, whether it's Coach Laura Beeman or Ron Ganat, come on down and we'll have special Coors Light on special. It is special on special. We've got a caller on the line, so let's go right to the phone lines. We have Fred. Hello, Fred.
Yeah, Coach. Usually at home games, you have a cup on a scorer's table that you reach for to soothe your throat, I guess. What's in that cup?
Depends if we're winning or losing, Fred. It's just Coke. It's just full-leaded sugar Coca-Cola. Yeah. My blood pressure goes down when I coach. It doesn't go up, and so the sugar is good so that if I stand up quickly, I don't get dizzy. And I would rather do that than eat, because eating on the sidelines is just really gross to me. So I just do a Coke. If I don't have Coke, I'll do a Gatorade. I usually drink maybe 4 or 5 sips of it. I don't drink a lot of it because I don't want all the calories, but I need the sugar sometimes, so that's what's in there.
You offer the extras to me sometimes.
I do,
so I
and Eric.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Here's a text coming in. Has scheduling the likes of Stanford, Utah, and Nevada
made me old? Yes. Yes.
Has scheduling those teams been paying dividends for recruiting?
Absolutely. I thought we played very, very well against Stanford in particularly. And, when you have someone like Atara Vanderveer who says this team is so much better than their record, I can say that. People aren't going to believe Laura Beeman, but they're going to believe Atara Vanderveer. So she's always been so complimentary. I love playing her teams. They expose you. And it's always scary going into that kind of game because it can just be a thumping. And And then when you play them well and you challenge their schemes and they have to get out of man or go to a zone or something to that effect, then you know you're onto something. So I think we have to schedule that way, one, to get into postseason, because we're a one-conference bid, obviously. If we don't win the tournament, we don't have a good preseason, we don't go. So you have to schedule those types of opponents. And it's kind of a puzzle where you want to schedule opponents that you know are probably going to thump you, opponents that you can absolutely beat, and then those that are in the middle that are going to be challenging. So it's a little bit of a puzzle getting that RPI right. But I think you absolutely have to schedule tough in the preseason.
Let's get to another player, one of your other seniors. Of the 4 seniors on your team here, you have Rachel Odumo. I mentioned her a little bit earlier. She made my voice crack because of that three-point shot. She's one of those, she just is physically, like, athletically fit. She just, if she was about 6'2", you'd want her coming off the bus first. You know, that intimidating player. She's 5'9", but she can still kind of give you that impression.
You know, great story about Rachel. She came into my office, and it was in the off season, and she had really been working out. She has just this amazing physique, and she's like, "Coach, I'm a little self-conscious." And I was like, "Why? You look amazing. This is all your hard work and all of your commitment." So I don't know. And I said, "Is Serena Williams not just a great, attractive, amazing, physically fit woman?" And she's like, "Well, yeah." And I'm like, "There you have it." And she's like, "Okay." And so it was just really cute that she just needed that reassurance, which I don't know why, because she does. She's worked very hard to look the way she looks, and she takes it seriously, and just a great young lady. She's, you know, not getting the minutes right now that she wants, but she has an amazing voice in our locker room. She works incredibly hard on the court. She pushes us every single day, whether it's on the scout team or in our you know, regular rotation. She will assume the role that we need her to assume, and that's a really tough place to be, particularly as a senior, and she's embraced that, and I can't thank and appreciate her enough for doing that.
Now, she has dual citizenship, doesn't she? Like Great Britain and the United States?
Yeah, I think she's traveled to like 7 or 8 different countries. She's fluent in Spanish, English. I don't know if Nigerian also. I know that's where her mother's from. So I don't want to put words out there and start rumors, but she's an incredibly intelligent young lady, and she loves the diversity. Whenever we go to eat, Rachel will order the most bizarre thing on the menu, and I'm like, "That's Rachel's." And it's like, this comes in this big fiery whatever, and I'm like, "That's Rachel's." And she just loves it, and she enjoys that. She'll end up traveling the world, I guarantee you. You know, if she can continue to play overseas, she's going to do it, but that young lady will take life wherever it goes and enjoy it and embrace it and live an amazing life.
Here's another text. Coach, it's from Mike, by the way. Coach, what are some of the players from past years doing? For instance, Sarah Tawina, Ashley Karaitiana, and Shanale Kueo, to name a few, if you happen to know.
I do know. Ashley's pregnant, and I'm not throwing anything out there that I'm not supposed to. She is in Australia. She was playing and is with an amazing young guy that we had the opportunity to meet when we were over in Australia, and they are expecting. And she is just tickled as anything about this baby. But she was playing up until that point. Shanale Kueo has taken a job, I believe, over in Hilo, and she is a boat captain, which has been her dream.
Wow.
That's something that Shauna wanted to do. She was over in Kaneohe at the Bay and was offered a better opportunity, and so she goes back and forth between here and there and just loves being on the water. Shauna's Hawaii through and through. Destiny King is in Colorado. She is with, I'm going to get it, it's either Morel or Jarrell, I'm not sure which one it is. There were 2 guys that were on the football team here that she was friends with and ended up dating one of them, and he's now on the Denver Broncos squad. And so she is in Colorado with him and just kind of living the NFL wife dream. Sarah Tawina is in Britain playing basketball. They just won the cup over there, and she was the MVP of the game. And she, I believe, had 32 points yesterday or today. I'm not sure what day it is over there, but she is continuing to play, doing very, very well. I'm trying to think of who else, but they're all doing something pretty good with their lives, and that's encouraging to see.
I'm sure as a coach, seeing your players kind of leading their next lives and succeeding, and whether it's playing ball or moving on with their own adult life, that's kind of gratifying. Because you had them for a great big part of their lives.
Mm-hmm. When you see what they're doing, whether they're married and they're just successful in their relationships, or they've got a great job, or whatever it is, you look at that and you think, this is why you do what you do. You know, the wins are great. But that's not why we coach. It's to see what they're going to do later on in their life, and you want them to have success. You want the lessons they learned while they were within your little ohana to help them in their life, because we know once you're out of college, life gets really difficult, and to have those tools, it's incredibly important.
Okay, Coach, unfortunately, our show is almost coming to an end. We've got about a minute, but I did want to touch a little bit on the upcoming road trip. You're going to play UC Irvine, Long Beach State. A little snippets about those two teams.
They're both very, very athletic. We're going to see a lot of the same schemes from them. They pick up in the full court. They're going to try to turn us over. They have to generate points on defense in order to score enough points offensively. If teams that have stayed within about 20 points off of them turning you over have been successful. We've done a much better job. I should knock here. We've done a much better job of taking care of the ball in the last few games with some pressure. That's going to be the key to the game, is not giving them free points on our turnovers, and that's both Long Beach and UCI. UCI will do it for 40 minutes, whether it's a full court man or a full court zone press. They're going to drop back into a man. And it's just going to be very aggressive, very frantic, kind of running all over the court, just trying to turn us over and making us play fast. So we have to control our tempo. We can score on them if we don't turn it over, but we have to control our tempo. Long Beach, it's a brand new coach, Jeff. He's a great guy. He was with Jody Wynn, who had Long Beach at the top forever and ever, and then she went and took the Washington job. They hired him, and he's going to just do some great things with that program. They're young right now. They're struggling a bit. But he's doing it the right way. And, again, just very athletic, put their head down, get to the rim, put a lot of pressure on us. We're going to have to control our tempo, rebound the ball, not turn it over, and we'll be okay.
Well, thanks so much, Coach, for joining us here tonight. Good luck on the road trip.
Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Thank you all for coming here. Ruby Tuesdays at the Mauna Lua Shopping Center. And this has been Call the Coach here on ESPN 1420. Dave Kawada, have a great evening.
You've been listening to Call the Coach live from Ruby Tuesday in Mauna Lua, presented by Coors Light. Also, mahalo to No Foods of Hawaii. Say yes to no. The HGEA. We are HGEA Strong. City Mill. Big on help, big on savings. Proud to be local. Hawaiian Financial Federal Credit Union. Xanthicin, the safe anti-inflammatory for health and longevity, available at GNC. The Hawaiian Airlines Bank of Hawaii MasterCard. POP Fishing and Marine. Gear. Glory. We got it on Pier 38. This has been another exclusive University of Hawaii sports presentation on ESPN 1420 and the